Oh, it's incredible! Bang on target!
It is the 6th day of January 2021. Good afternoon to you wherever you are, and welcome to the Midday News here on Pan-African Television. We're streaming live in our studios here in Abelink, Peswanika Street of Accra. And of course, we're live inside 32 African countries via satellite. We're live on Facebook at Pan-African Television, and of course on YouTube at Pan-African Television. My name is Ivan Vance Abana. Let's take a look at our headlines for today's bulletin. Now, security services equipped to maintain law and order. And this is coming from President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And also still to come, minority leader jabs President Akufo-Addo for Ghana's economic woes. Also coming up, Joseph Osei Owusu insensitive comments about Techiman South killings. In business today, Africa's largest trade agreement kicks off today. That is the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And on international today, Julian Assange's verdict: good day for human rights and bad day for journalists. Now, this and many other stories coming up, including sports and entertainment shortly. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. Now, many thanks for staying with us. My name is Ivan Vance Abana. Let's take a look at our first story. Now, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has said that security services have been well equipped to maintain law and order. The President, whilst presenting the final State of the Nation's address in Parliament yesterday, also announced that the security services have now been added to the pension scheme.
Since my assumption of office has increased annually the budgetary allocations to all the accountability institutions of state, including Parliament and the judiciary, with the latter, for example, being the beneficiary of 90 newly constructed courts across the country. Our security agencies have been equipped with more personnel and the requisite tools needed to maintain law and order, as well as protect the territorial integrity of our borders. At the 81st Cabinet meeting, the decision was taken to exclude the security services, that is the police service, immigration service, fire service, prison service, as well as other security and intelligence agencies, just like the armed forces, from the unification of pension schemes. In other words, all the security agencies will continue to enjoy benefit of the pension scheme. And the appropriate legal regime will be put in place by the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations to ensure this.
Now, still on the State of the Nation's address, now President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, also seized the opportunity to touch on various sectors in the economy, with highlights on how they fared for the past 4 years.
At the end of 2019, the economy was characterized by strong growth in response to implementation of government flagship programs, single-digit inflation, reduced fiscal deficits, with 3 consecutive years of primary surpluses, relatively stable exchange rate, significant improvement in the current account, with 3 consecutive years of trade surpluses, strong foreign exchange reserve buffers, and markedly reduced lending rates. The global pandemic of COVID-19 threatened to derail the progress chalked over the first 3 years of my administration. Its impact has led to the revision in GDP growth for 2020 from 6.8% to 0.9% and later to 1.9% to reflect significant slowdown in economic activities as a consequence of the effects of COVID-19 on lives and livelihoods. The proactive decisions taken by government to fight the pandemic, as well as revitalize and transform the economy with the 100 billion CD Ghana Cares or Batampa program, anchors bright prospects for the medium term. Government will continue to implement prudent fiscal measures to quicken the pace of fiscal consolidation. And in March this year, the Minister for Finance will come to this august house to provide further details on the measures to be taken to restore our country back to the path of economic recovery. Mr. Speaker, government in 4 years has recorded a number of significant milestones in our quest to formalize and modernize the Ghanaian economy. We believe it is the fairest and fastest way to achieve our goals. The National Identity Card rollout, the National Digital Property Addressing System, the interoperability of mobile money transactions, the introduction of the paperless operations at the port, e-business registration system, and access to digital financial services are all part of the drive to formalize our economy and enhance its productivity.
Now, away from that, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu has taken a swipe at the president for priding himself as having bettered the lives of the citizenry with his policies and programs. In an interaction with the media, he also lambasted the president for his woeful handling of the Ghana's economy.
He is compelled to. That is not his wish. It's what the Ghanaian people impose on him, and he must respect it. He didn't win parliament, nothing more. He should respect the principle and notion and practical operation of the doctrine of separation of powers. He's an executive president. He lost parliament. He lost it. He just forced him to add Chima and to add Sepsi, as you saw, and it's disappointing. Then cost of living and quality of life is deteriorating in Ghana. Read the Statistical Service and the UNDP report in Ghana, and he talks about Ghana exporting food. A bag of maize, as I heard from my mother for the first time, is now selling for more than 200 Ghana cedis in Tamale. That has never ever happened. A bag of corn, I use ordinary people to measure it, and then he prides himself with 1D, 1F. 1D, 1F not equitably distributed.
Also, Majority Leader of the 7th Parliament, Lawrence Osei-Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, has said there's no hung parliament as projected by some Ghanaians. Now, speaking after President Akufo-Addo delivered his last State of the Nation's address yesterday, he said a hung parliament cannot be functional due to the nature of Ghana's legislative body.
Speaker, the President has appealed to his own government to be much more consultative given where we are as a nation. And he has also appealed to Parliament to be innovative in the conduct of business, all in a bid to deepen our democratic governance. So, Speaker, normally when the President delivers his message on the State of the Nation, the Parliament sets aside a date and indeed periods to pour through the content of the debate. Now, given where we are, the last State of the Nation address given by the President at the dusk of his own life and at the dusk of Parliament's life, there's virtually no space to debate the content of that message. Perhaps, to be innovative, we devise a scheme to interrogate the content. But for now, no such message has been debated in the House. Mr. Speaker, for those of them who decide to be very speculative and live in a dream world, reality check would show where we are as a nation. Mr. Speaker, people should be woken up from their dreamland. But we are not there yet. In the scheme of Parliament arrangement, there's no hung parliament. There's no hung parliament in Ghana. There is always a majority caucus. By all rules, there are only two caucuses in the House, majority, minority. Wherever the pendulum swings, Mr. Speaker, that group will constitute the majority. And people should learn the rules of procedure in this House. Mr. Speaker, accordingly, I want to move that this Honorable House thanks the President for the message on the State of the Nation which he has delivered to the House this day, Tuesday, the 5th of January, 2021. I so move.
Away from that, first Deputy Speaker of Parliament and member of the Bekwai constituency, Honorable Joseph Osei Owusu, has likened the Timan South elections violence victim to armed robbery who were shot in an operation. Responding to a question on whether he was disappointed in the president not mentioning anything about the victims of the Timan South election violence, the legislator said President Akufo-Addo should neither be commiserating nor speaking on every criminal conduct.
I think that it is not fair for people to refer to an event without going back. What happened? Should the president just talk about if a criminal is shot, he's shot, the crime does not matter? I beg to differ. What happened? The president should stay out. Let the investigative people determine what happened. But I think it's not fair to insist that because somebody died, even if he was in the process of committing a crime, it becomes an issue. No, I beg to differ. Do we commiserate with the families of armed robbers we shoot? A criminal crime? Were they in the process of committing a crime? Let's determine that. These are thinking of any victim of any victim attracts our sympathy. I don't support that. If I am wrongly killed, I deserve sympathy. But if I am shot in the process of preventing a crime, I deserve that. That should not be our process. Our process now, our focus now should what happened. Nobody's talking about what happened.
More local stories. Now, the Supreme Court of Ghana has ruled that the whole High Court erred in granting an interim injunction on the Gazette of John Peter Amewu as Member of Parliament-elect of the Hohoe constituency. This was after the Attorney General invoked the supervisory powers of the apex court of the land to declare that decisions by the High Court null and void.
Presiding judge of the 5-member panel, Justice Yao Apau, when reading out the verdict, said the interim orders by the High Court in Ho died a natural death since the interim injunction only lasted for 10 days, thus elapsed on January 2. Also, the Supreme Court said John Peter Amewu, though a beneficiary, had nothing to do with the denial of the rights of the residents of Sao area to vote and therefore should be allowed to go through due process to be sworn in as Member of Parliament for the Hohoi constituency. Moreover, the Apex Court also agreed with the Attorney General's argument that the aggrieved parties went to the court with an election petition disguised as a human rights issue, and thus the whole High Court erred in treating the case as such. The court, however, struck out the Attorney General's plea for an order to prohibition against the High Court's continual hearing of a matter and ruled that it was for the trial court to determine whether the right to vote is a fundamental human right accruing to the interest parties. It also struck out the relief of the Attorney General's praying the court to injunct the trial judge on the grounds of bias. According to the court, even though the judge erred, there was no substantive evidence of bias against, hence their decision to strike out the relief. In addition, the court declined to pronounce on the constitutionality of CI 128 as contended by lawyer for the Sao residents Chachu Chikata. According to the Supreme Court, the interested parties did not invoke its jurisdiction to determine the constitutionality or otherwise of the constitutional instrument, and therefore the court was in no position to grant that. We approached the Deputy Attorney General and applicant Godfred Yeboadame, and this was his reaction to the ruling of the Supreme Court.
The court today has upheld the validity of CI 128. The court had indicated that clearly CI 128 was constitutional, and the interested parties led by Chikata had failed to produce any evidence whatsoever impeaching the validity of CI 128. So, as far as I'm concerned, the extent that CI 128 had placed the people of Santo Kofi, Akofu, Lipe, and Lunobi under blame, it will solve the issue. I think the consequence to all of this is that the Boem election, if you ask me, yes, for me, it wasn't properly conducted to the extent that it excluded the people of Santo Kofi, Akofu, Lunobi, and Lipe. So I think that the proper thing to do is for the Electoral Commission to perhaps look at that issue and take due steps that will warrant the conduct of the Boem election again. That's the most important thing. Of course, I'm also aware of the tendency of a school fought by certain people seeking to have the Boem election annulled for a fresh election to be conducted. I think that issue will be dealt with by the High Court. And indeed, the court today, when it was preserving the part relating to human rights, to continue at the High Court, clearly also is thinking on the same line. So that issue can be resolved by the High Court, and the conclusion can be that the Boem election is conducted again. But the court has indicated today clearly that the people of the 4 areas in question cannot be part of Hohoi. They are not part of Hohoi as per law, because to do so will be an infringement on Article 47.
Counsel for the interested parties, Chachu Chikata, however, declined to speak to the media.
Now, founding president and CEO of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, has offered his assessment of the state of the nation after President Nana Akufo-Addo accounted for his 4-year stewardship. And according to him, Ghana is in a state of disunity. Hence, presidents should reconcile and unify the country in his second term.
He has given a state of the nation address today. What is your state of the nation? In your opinion?
I think the state of the nation as it stands now is a bit disunited. I see clearly from the elections. If we were taking the issues that went into the elections into consideration, and I don't mean to recount them now, we have mostly a not too united country. And I think the president tried to suggest that there's the need to work together. He did call on Parliament to do that. I was a bit appalled that I didn't hear him pay homage to the.
He also charged the president to deal with corrupt appointees embroiled in shady and underhand dealings to serve as a deterrent in his second term.
He needs to first deal with a lot of corruption. I think there's been too many corrupt incidents in the government. He needs to attack it frontally. The issues of Galamsey must be dealt with. And I think he needs to start chastising some of his own ministers who were complicit, some of his own assigns who were complicit in the Galamsey fight. I think by and large, they should focus on ensuring that the Ghanaian can believe in democracy again. Because a lot of the things that were done, quite frankly, eroded common sense. And I expected that, I'm sure he knows, that the election results, which he himself alluded to, had been handed down by Ghanaians to say that they did not like the over-politicization of issues, the one-sidedness of issues, and that there must be some commonality in determining what makes sense and what makes development, or what constitutes development for the average Ghanaian.
Front Happiness is business.
Do you want a pleasant, sweet aroma in your environment? Venus Air Freshener provides a sweet and fresh odor for your home, school, hotel, hospital, leaving the environment with a nice fresh aroma that lasts longer. It also contains ingredients that fight against insects, cockroach, mosquito, and housefly, and the product is approved by the FDA. For bulk, contact 0555 874437 or 0242 824 952. Venus Air Freshener leaves a long-lasting freshness.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Hello?
Oh, Sister Sound.
Okay, why? Hey, my wife comes and send a message you. You're hello? You know, what's happened?
It's your child who will be a quiet say what?
We signed for an affair. I'm so years. My wife is not testing messages here. And our office so I'm trying to tell you, she says, I
mean, so we a guy man and may young who could look cry. And also wants a family drilling company limited for Kana.
What's it then? Family Drilling Company Limited.
Ye two borehole, biofuel, biogas, swimming pool, plumbing works in Naso, ye be Frey 0240 333 111 and NASA 0244 144 822.
Miampa and we want swimming pool on me see. We want to we'll be here. Family drilling now. Family drilling.
What fashion is shit?
Me out with that.
Many thanks for still staying with us. My name is Ivan Bant Abana. Let's do some business story. Now, the African Continental Free Trade Area is now officially the largest free trade area by the numbers of participating countries since the founding of the World Trade Organizations in 1995. The Secretariat is headquartered here in Accra, Ghana.
The African Continental Free Trade Area is based on an agreement among 54 African countries. Negotiations began as far back as 2012, but it was in 2018 at the 10th extraordinary session of the African Union in Kigali, Rwanda, that 3 separate agreements were adopted to establish the free trade area. Despite teething problems, including the initial refusal of Africa's biggest single market, Nigeria, to join the African Continental Free Trade Area, the agreement came into fruition on Friday, January 1, 2021. Some 30 out of the 55 countries have ratified the agreement, which means that as of now, Africans and other global stakeholders can look forward to a new era of doing business in Africa. But it's also important to see the January launch of the African Continental Free Trade Area as a largely symbolic gesture. It will take a few years, even for the most optimistic, to see Africans overcoming the challenges to a free trade agreement, including protectionism, national red tapes, as well as poor infrastructure across the continent. The new African Continental Free Trade Area era brings to the fore certain structural changes as well as establishes new rules that one must know. Here are 3 things to note under the new dispensation. The African Trade Observatory is an online mechanism brought about by the African Continental Free Trade Area. The way the African Trade Observatory is meant to be function is that it provides a dashboard to give a real-time trade statistics to African users. The African Trade Observatory dashboard gives intra-continental trade flows, traded values, traded quantities, the use of tariff preferences, taxes and fees paid at the border, and information on market conditions, enabling stakeholders to make evidence-based decisions and quickly. Rules of origin in the legal documents that establish the African Continental Free Trade Area touches on, among other things, the Certificate of Origin, which means the documentary proof of origin, chapter, which refers the 2-digit chapters code used in the nomenclature, CIF value, which is the price paid by the importer, as well as classified, which speaks to the classification of a product or material under a particular heading or subheading. Rules of origin in the African Continental Free Trade Area is supposed to standardize ambitions of intellectual property as well as ambition. These rules preempt a significant globalization process in Africa. The ambition to have people move across Africa as freely as goods have not seen the light of day, although it has been debated for well over 2 decades. Within the framework of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the plan to allow people free movement comes with the establishment of a visa-free zone within the trade agreement area. This obviously seems like a plan that would come to pass if there are enough willing African countries. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has strived to employ a similar strategy for citizens of the sub-region.
Meanwhile, Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Wamkele Meni, has said that the African Union has transferred all functions related to the African Continental Free Trade Area agreement from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia to Ghana. Now, speaking at a business forum at the commencement of the African Continental Free Trading in Ghana, he further disclosed that the politically stable nation has been touted as the gateway to trade and investment in Africa.
President, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that a few months ago, I shared with you my vision that through the AfCFTA, Ghana and Accra is established as the trade and commercial diplomacy capital of the African continent. I'm pleased to inform you that this vision is becoming a reality. During their 13th extraordinary session, the heads of states accepted my recommendation to them to transfer all functions related to the AfCFTA from Addis Ababa to Accra, Ghana, under the leadership of the AfCFTA Secretariat. This decision of the Assembly of Heads of States positions Ghana as the gateway to trade and investment in Africa. It gives practical meaning to Ghana's long-standing ideals of Pan-Africanism. I'm truly proud and honored to be part of this historic journey that Ghana has begun to pioneer for this African continent.
Now let's do some forex rating. Let's look at the interbank cedi performance against some of the major currencies as of today's 7th of January 2021. Now let's look at the dollar. Now the dollar is buying at 5.757 and of course selling at 5.763. The pounds as at today, 7th January 2021, is buying at 7.829 and selling at 7.837. The euros as of today is buying at 7.063 and selling at 7.070. And the naira currency is buying at 68.128 and selling at 68.220. And the CFA currency is buying at 92.771 and selling at 92.861. So these are the current forex rating as of today, 7th January 2020. That's all we have for you in the business front. Up next is International. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you want a pleasant, sweet aroma in your environment? Venus Air Freshener provides a sweet and fresh odor for your home, school, hotel, hospital, leaving the environment with a nice fresh aroma that lasts longer. It also contains ingredients that fight against insects, cockroach, mosquito, and housefly, and the product is approved by the FDA. For bulk, contact 0555 874437 or 0242 824 952. Venus Air Freshener leaves a long-lasting freshness.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Many thanks for still staying with us. Now let's do some international stories. Now the U.S. plea to extradite Julian Assange was turned down on January 4th. The judge accepted most of the prosecution's arguments but rejected the extradition plea on account of the risk of suicide by Assange. Renata Avila, a lawyer and legal advisor to Assange, explains that while this was historic of being the first positive verdict in a decade from the UK court, the implications for journalism and freedom of speech are dangerous. Renata Avila talks about the verdict in the Julian Assange trial. She says that while this was historic in being the first positive verdict from UK court in 10 years, the implications for journalism is dangerous due to the statement of the judges.
People's Dispatch. Today is January 4, 2021, and the UK court has decided that Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, will not be extradited to the United States. Now, this is quite a significant verdict because over the past many months, there's been a hearing, there's been a lot of arguments, and there was a lot of doubt whether this verdict would come out or whether the extradition would actually proceed. So to talk more about this, we have with us Renata Avila, who's one of the legal advisors to Julian Assange. Thank you so much, Renata, for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me here. It's amazing to be on this side of the screen. I'm always on that side of the screen, watching all the amazing things that you are reporting all the time, all over the world about social justice issues.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it is an exciting day in a sense. I mean, it is the first positive resolution from a UK court in 10 years for Julian. But also, you know, it's a big reflection that makes me angry, you know, because it has been 10 years of this fight, 10 years of a life of somebody who should be battling the bad guys out and working in news outlets like this one and revolutioning journalism as he was doing. So it has been 10 years of an interrupted life, and not only interrupted life, but of an interrupted purpose and mission that he had in life. And that was the whole objective, right? Punishment by process.
Absolutely.
So today, something important for the people watching to understand is not a final decision. Mm-hmm. This decision could and will be appealed by the Department of Justice of the US, even if they know that they are going to lose most likely. And the second important clarification that is very important for people to bear in mind, we are not disputing the facts here. We are not defending yet the right to publish here. The only question that was in the hands of the UK is whether a person charged by the crimes that he has been charged, which is basically to publish and to protect journalist sources, should be extradited to the US or should be protected because of political reasons. And all the arguments submitted by the defense explaining to the court that what he's doing is the best form of journalism, that what he's doing is in the public interest, that he didn't harm anybody, that it was all done legally, all of this today was dismissed. So even if I'm happy because, you know, like the answer was a no to extradition, it's bad news for journalism.
Exactly.
Why is it bad news? Because the only reason that the court took, and the only reason why the extradition has been denied is because he's in a really bad shape and he's at suicide risk. And the conditions of prisons, as we all know, in the US do not meet the standards that will not guarantee that he will not kill himself. So it is a very sad, in a way, judgment. I mean, it was just a humanitarian reason to keep him alive and save his life, basically. But we lost somehow. We lost all the journalistic arguments. And that only consolidates this news imperialism that the US wants for all over us. Why? Because the publications were not published from the US,
right,
were not published by a US citizen. It was completely outside US publications about matters that matter to the rest of the world. And that's what is being persecuted and prosecuted here. So in a way, it is a good day for human rights, a bad day for journalism somehow. Because what will happen is that if you are under the same circumstances, you will be punished. Absolutely. If you are on the exact same circumstances, you will be affected.
Absolutely right. And in this context, I think the immediate question is of the appeal itself, which the United States is definitely likely to file in this process. So based on today's ruling, what kind of a chance does the appeal process itself have? Because the judge is, like you said, given a very, in some senses, a divided ruling where she's basically accepted all the arguments that the prosecution has put forward, but then made the point about Julian's life being at risk of suicide because of the prison conditions. So in terms of the appeal process, what exactly are the possibilities?
Well, Julian is on solid ground because the ruling of the minor court, it is consistent with recent rulings of higher courts in the Lori Love case. And that means that he's more likely to, that argument is 99% probabilities to prevail. But now we have a complication because we don't know if he will be granted bail.
Right.
We think that is the only just thing. I mean, he has been like in these conditions for so long. There's COVID pandemic. We really hope that consistent to the decision that the judge let him be under house arrest, or even just domiciliary arrest during this time, you know, like if he's able to circulate, to go to universities, give talks, like activate his life back, get his life back. Even these minimum things, going to the beach and playing with his children in the park, these minimum things that he could enjoy again. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. We will know a UK time in the morning on Wednesday the 6th.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. And in this context, like you pointed out, I think there's a huge challenge for journalism itself in the coming months and years, because what was and has and is celebrated as a very legitimate form of journalism has basically been criminalized in this verdict, for lack of better words, because whether it be protecting sources, whether it be, like you said, talking about news from around the world, which countries affecting around the world, all that has been just bundled into criminal activity under the name of hacking as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it is outrageous because it is like the same gatekeepers want to keep the privilege to publish and be the only ones doing it. And basically, independent media is a threat to this model. And social media has only contributed to the concentration of power of the powerful actors, and projects like WikiLeaks, not relying on advertising or algorithms or data mining from the people reading them, are really challenging the business model, really challenging hierarchies. You cannot buy journalism because people is supporting this kind of journalism. And it's not Substack, you know, and it's not these closed compartments for those who can those who can pay. It is something openly supported by the people all over the world. So I can only hope that WikiLeaks survives and reinvents itself and challenges power as it has done it in the resistance side for 10 years.
Thank you.
So that's all we have for you on our international front. Credit to the People's Dispatch for our international stories. Now, up next is sports.
Do you want a pleasant, sweet aroma in your environment? Venus Air Freshener provides a sweet and fresh odor for your home, school, hotel, hospital, leaving the environment with a nice fresh aroma that lasts longer. It also contains ingredients that fight against insects, cockroach, mosquito, and housefly, and the product is approved by the FDA. For bulk, contact 0555 874437 or 0242 824 952. Venus Air Freshener leaves a long-lasting freshness.
Some sports story. Now, government of Ghana has announced that football fans will now be allowed into the various stadiums in the ongoing football season to watch their team play. Fans have been barred from attending match venues since March last year due to the COVID-19 restrictions.
Match venues for the various competitions of the Ghana Football Association will only admit 25% of fans with strict adherence to the COVID-19 protocols, a statement from Ghana's Sports Ministry revealed. Football activities in the country were earlier scheduled to bounce back together with fans' attendance at the various stadia in October last year. The unfortunate rise in COVID-19 cases in October saw the government rescind its decision on the return of fans amid the COVID-19 outbreak in the country. The decision by the government to permit fans back into the stadium has been greeted with excitement by the clubs as they continue to incur debt in their operations as a result of games played behind closed doors. The 2020-2021 Ghana Premier League, which is currently ongoing, has been played under closed doors with some clubs flouting the rules to allow fans into the stadium. The 40% admission of fans to the various venues will mean the Accra Sports Stadium, which is home to 5 Premier League clubs, for instance, will admit 9,500 spectators per match.
Now, away from that, Kumasi Asante Kotoko will today face their Sudanese counterpart, Al Hilal, in an ongoing CAF Champions League preliminary round second leg match in Sudan to book a place in the group stage. There's more to the story.
Kotoko are in Sudan with the hope to overturn a 1-0 defeat suffered in the first leg clash against Al Hilal. A win is the only result to guarantee Kotoko a place in the group stage. The Pokopan Warriors touched down in Sudan on Monday, but opted not to train on Tuesday morning due to unpaid bonuses. The players refused to come out of their hotel rooms for training, leaving the leaders of the delegation, Nana Yao and Ponsan, to hold an emergency meeting with the team. The players were owned per diem of their last encounter in Mauritania, where they drew 1-1. Winning bonuses of their games against Legon Cities FC and Dreams FC in the Ghana Premier League have also not been paid, coupled with the monthly salaries of December 2020. The Reds will, however, settle for a place in the CAF Confederations Cup should they fail to beat Al Hilal.
So that's all we have for you in the world of sports. Now, after this is entertainment news.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Now let's do some entertainment stories. Now, African music has made tremendous strides within and outside the continent, wildly touted as lover's paradise and an adventurer music rock. As part of efforts to adulate African music legends and their invaluable contribution to varying degrees of the genre, our entertainment profiles Beninese icon Zainab Habib. There's more to this.
This Zainab Habib christened Olukemi Zainab Habibu at birth on September 25, 1975, is a Yoruba Beninese singer of the world, born in the Ivorian capital, Abidjan. She won the Kora Awards in 2005 in the category Best Female Artist in West Africa and has been UNICEF's National Goodwill Ambassador since 2007. Zainab's father was an electronic engineer and her mother was a trader. She is the 8th child to her parents and was raised in a large Muslim family with more than 16 other siblings. Growing up, Zainab engaged herself in music-related school competitions. She later enrolled at the General Education College of Alada in 1993. Although she completed the Series A at her senior secondary school, she dropped out to pursue a career in music. She then started to make local stage appearances, including hosting a karaoke bar at the Alex Hotel in Cotonou, Benin for more than a year. Zainab received international recognitions for her music. As of October 2015, she was the national ambassador for UNICEF in Benin. During a music recital in 2005, she caught the attention of the Super Quartz Orchestra, who later recruited her to sing for them. This opened up opportunities for her to meet and partner with notable musicians of that time, including Fifi Rafiatu, Awilo Logomba, Jackie Rapon, Jimmy Hope, Nell Oliver, Bak Medio, Kiwi Kanta, and Mado Isbad. Apart from work, Zainab Habib passes a lot of time on skill development.
So that's all for our midday bulletin today. But before we leave, let's take a look at our headlines for today. Now, President Akufo-Addo says the security service have been equipped to maintain law and order. And also, Minority Leader jabs President Akufo-Addo for Ghana's economic woes. And also, we brought you a story on Joseph Osei-Owusu's insensitive comments about the Techiman South killings. And in business today, we did Africa's largest trade agreement kicks off today. And on an international front today, credit to the People's Dispatch, Julian Assange's verdict, good day for human rights and bad day for journalism. So this is how we wrap up the show on the midday news here on Pan-African Television. My name is Ivan Bans Abba. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms at Pan-African Television. The Youth Empowerment Show is up next. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.